CWI Prep Course, NDE Symbols, Module 10, Part 10. Learning Objectives. In this module, we're going to touch base on standard location of NDE elements, basic components of a standard NDE symbol, combined welding in NDE symbols, and location of testing symbols. We're going to talk about standard location of NDE elements and NDE symbols. So from this slide, you can see it's pretty similar to what we went over with welding symbols. So now we're going to do it with NDE symbols. So you get done with your welding and you look on the drawing and you see some NDE symbols. It's going to tell you what needs to be examined and to what criteria. So you can see that we've got examine all around, field examination, radiation direction, a bunch of these different pieces of information that we'd like to relay on to our non-destructive testing personnel. As with welding symbols, the basic components of an NDE symbol are the reference line, the arrow, and the tail. Then you've got examination method data that can be in there, dimensions of what needs to be NDE'd, supplementary symbols, and then specifications, processes, or other references. These are usually put in the tail. NDE symbols. Here's a list of non-destructive testing symbols specifying the type of test to be used, and you can also list the extent to which the test will be performed. The basic non-destructive testing symbols are as follows: acoustic emission testing, eddy current testing, leak testing, mag particle, neutron radiography, penetrant testing, PT, radiography, RT, ultrasonic with UT, and VT with visual. Pretty standard acronyms, but you just attach it to the NDE symbol and it shows the NDE people, the NDE technicians that are going to be performing the non-destructive examination, what needs to be done where and which process. NDE locations, so you just put the it's the same as welding symbols. You put the symbol there of what process you want, the arrow points. It's either, near side or far side, and you have welding all around. You can have field examination, combinations of NDE, UT, and RT, as well as PT. Whole bunch of different options here as far as relaying what you need done as far as non-destructive testing onto the non-destructive testing group or technicians. Here's an example of a combined welding and NDE symbol. Welding and NDE symbols can be combined on the same reference line or on separate multiple reference lines. Combining welding and NDE symbols on multiple reference lines often clarifies the exact sequence of operations required. So in this instance, you're going to make a weld, and then you're going to UT that weld. You're going to weld all around, and then you're going to UT all around, and it's going to be done in the field. Here are some examples of non-destructive examination symbols. You can see the ones that I'm looking at are specifications, codes, and references. You can see where they've put codes and references in the tail. I try and preach to people, mechanical, civil engineers, designers that are doing specifying welding symbols on things, as well as NDE. Put as much information as you need in the tail. That's what the tail's there for. If you can't find a specific symbol that's covering exactly what you want, put information in the tail. See note 12 or use procedure, Bob's Welding and Barbecue WPS and NDE procedure 1332. Just write it down. Write exactly what you want done in the tail. You don't have to do it with, a symbol, a lot of times there might be more information than you can use in a symbol that can be, put into a one symbol. There's more information that can be held in one symbol, so you put a note there. And that's what the tail's for. I'm a big proponent of using the tail if there's extra information that needs to be relayed onto the welding and NDE people. You can have a note that's 2 paragraphs long. See note 14, and it tells the guy exactly what needs to be done and how you want it done. But these are some examples of NDE symbols. Here's some more examples of NDE symbols. You can use it to, lay out plane areas. The plane area there that needs to be UT'd. You have acoustic emissions there. Acoustic emissions on this pipe. Eddy current testing all the way around, and then PRT. And then on the upper one, the area of revolution, you can see where they want a certain part of that flange RT'd, and then the inside of it they want MT'd. So, you've got some options there. But that's what NDE symbols are for, is relaying information on to the NDE technicians so you don't waste time and money having non-destructive testing done to something that doesn't need to be tested. Here's some location of testing symbols, just a couple more examples. You've got near side and far side, and then the arrow pointing to where it needs to be done. UT, MT, PT, just location of test symbols. Nothing too exciting, but just another example. Here you can see we've got location of specification, process, or classification, or reference. You can see we've got those in the tail. Like I've said in previous rants, I'm a big proponent of using the tail as a source of reference for specifications, process, instructions, clarifications, whatever. Put it in the tail and send them to a note and give them a paragraph or two explaining exactly what you want. There's no crime in doing this. In my experience, a lot of designers are reluctant to do this, and I don't know why. I think it's because they think, well, I've got an NDE or a welding symbol, and the welder should just be able to know exactly from that one symbol. Well, sometimes things are a little more complicated than that. Anyways, don't be afraid to let people know that they can use the tail to put supplementary information in there. Here's a location of testing symbols. You can see that you can specify the length and exact location of area to be tested. So, on B there, they want MT6 done on both sides of that weld. I'm assuming it's a flange or a girder of some type, and there's fillet welds on both sides. So they want both sides done, but they just want that section done. And then that 24 inches in between, they don't want anything, and then they want the 6 inches done on the end there. So these symbols can be used to specify the exact length and location of areas to be tested. Summary. In this module, we touched base on standard location of NDE elements, basic components of NDE symbols, combined welding and NDE symbols, and the location of testing symbols.